afternoon. Here, I'm gonna. There's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, the sunny side we also may view. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way. If you keep on the sunny side of life. Let us greet with a song of hope each day. Though the moment be cloudy or fair, let us trust in the Spirit always to keep us everyone in care. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all the way. If we keep on the sunny side of life. If we keep on the sunny side of life.
Yay! Sunny side of life. Well, here I am again. I'm not Mike McMorrow. I'm Maureen Hoyt, a former minister here for 14 and a half years. For anyone who's here for the first time today, you are welcome. Everybody on the live stream is welcome as well. Mike is still testing positive for COVID. So he's having quite a journey of it. And, sometimes when we need to rest, we get our resting in weird and wonderful ways if we're not specific about how we need to rest. Our presider this morning is Reverend Kathy Lyons, and welcome her. And our music today is Teresa James. Yay! Yay! All right, our call to service is called Lighting the Flames of Faith, and we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from that one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. As Reverend Kathy lights the first candle, it is for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. The second candle we light for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the 10th candle for those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives and for the space we hold for them at this center and in our hearts, as Reverend Mike would say. And as Reverend Kathy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own soul. There is one flame, one light within.
Join me, please, as I speak in the first person for everyone here and online. How grateful I am to be here in this center, to feel that love and joy, and recognizing that there is this power, this presence, which is this presence of God, which is this presence of love and joy and upliftment. And I am one with God. I am one with its love, joy, and upliftment. And so I hereby declare that this day, this Sunday experience, this Sunday celebration is a perfect and complete idea in the mind of God that God's divine love expresses through Reverend Dr. Maureen, through Teresa, for Ian and Evan on the sound, and that everyone here and online, that we are just feeling that love and joy and upliftment right here and right now. And so with deep gratitude for this center, for Reverend Mike as our spiritual director, for everyone participating today, I release these words to the law of mind as I let it be so, and together we say, and so it is. Good morning. Reverend Dr. Maureen introduced me, and I feel fall in the air. It's nice. And I'd like to share from a quote from Emerson, "To have a friend, you must be a friend." Yesterday at Reverend Maureen's class, the writing class, we had to write a journal prompt about friendships. And I did write about a longtime friend I've had for many years. Somebody that I had friends that one of the friends I demonstrated when I had a practitioner years ago do spiritual mind treatment for new friends. I've already shared that before experience. But what I've learned too about having a friend, we must be a friend. Reverend Maureen was talking about Barbara DeAngelis. She's if you're not familiar with her, she's been a writer and speaker about relationships. And somebody, would you see her at Asilomar? That somebody in the audience asked her why her previous marriages didn't work, and her current one has been a long-term marriage. And she said the past marriages, she went into it with the idea of what she could get out of it, and her current marriage that lasted is because what she could put into it, give to it. And so I often think about with friendships, I know for me, friendships, relationships, I need a clear idea about what I desire, but I need to be those qualities as well. I believe in friendships, relationships, whether it's family, a partner, friends. It's a balance of giving and receiving. And I know that when I was younger, I was kind of a taker. A lot of times I'd be with people and just want to talk about myself, and I think it was because I was very needy. But as I cultivated better self-esteem, then I realized it was better just to quit worrying about myself and start taking an interest in other people. And so I believe giving and receiving, and I think too, it's important to be open to receive and a giver, but also there's got to be a balance. I've been with people who never would let me pay for their lunch, or never, if I gave them, don't go to the trouble. That kind of relationship, I didn't feel really very uplifting either. There's a balance. To be a friend sometimes is letting them give you something, give us, or pay for my lunch or whatever. It's giving and receiving. And one of the things that Ernest Holmes said, think of the whole world as a friend, but you must also be a friend to the whole world. And that's kind of what Emerson's saying, have a friend, be a friend. And I think that's true too with success in a job or a business. When I was working, and I still work a little bit, I had qualities I wanted in a job, but obviously I needed to have the qualifications for that job. It's an exchange of giving and receiving. So what I will share at the end, an affirmation that I'll share with you, one of my favorites. I now demonstrate my true place, my true people, and true prosperity now, and so it is.
Felt my faith had quit me. I couldn't even go outside. When my friends tried to pick me up, I crawled up underneath the bed to hide. I knew I was never gonna change my luck till I brought up the courage to try. And when I finally got the nerve to spread my wings, I found out I could fly. Sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith. Sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith. I had no way of knowing what might come from all of this. It scares me now just to think about all the good things that I might have missed. I was just trying to find some help. I wanted to see myself as a survivor. I had to rise up from the ashes of love, jump back into the fire. Sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith. Sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith. Sometimes you have to believe before you see the proof, or you could wait a lifetime for a moment of truth. Yeah, sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith. Sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith. I said sometimes all it takes. Sometimes all it takes. Sometimes all it takes is a leap of faith.
Wow.
You guys awake now?
Yeah. Thank you. I have a few announcements. Practitioners are available in the prayer room by the front door for a 2-minute tune-up. I'm available. Any other licensed practitioners? Yes, we have a few here. So if you want to make a change, you have a goal, or just want to increase your blessings, you can call on any one of us, and we'll be glad to treat for you. Also, if you're interested in finding a practitioner, go to cslgh.org. Tomorrow, September 29th, is a self-mastery class with Reverend Nancy Woods and Andrea Recht, licensed practitioner. There's a flyer in Sparks Hall to sign up. And what I've learned about making friends, that in order to make friends, if you really want to make friends, those classes is one way to cultivate friendships. Believe me, that's where I've made lifelong friends. October 4th to 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., there's the Karma Yoga Retreat facilitated by Reverend Jeannie. It'll take place here at CSLGH, and see the details and sign up in Sparks Hall. October 18th is the Granada Hills Street Fair. Sign up in Sparks Hall to volunteer at a booth. It's a lot of fun, a way that you see a lot of people, a lot of interesting booths. And who has the gratitude box?
Well, apparently not anybody today. You can just be grateful for whatever you want.
Oh, yay,
here she
Chloe's
comes.
here. Okay, yay.
It says, I am grateful for my feet.
Yay, thank you, Chloe, very nice, thank you. Well, yeah, we walk on our feet, so I can go for that. Let's stand for our Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
Ready, y'all? I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you. So good morning to those who just arrived. You are welcome here today, of course. Just to let you know, an update with Reverend Mike, he's still testing positive for COVID, so erring on the side of caution, he decided to stay at home. And I'm glad about that, because having had COVID, before it was COVID, actually, that's the interesting part for me, I know how bad it could be sometimes, and how good it feels when you're over it. You know, that's the part we have to remember. This week we're finishing up the transcendent purpose idea, and as I like to call it, transcendent potential. We're given talk notes on a weekly basis for the themes from the organization from CSL, and I don't remember who who created these talk notes for today, but I take them with a grain of salt because I can't get in somebody else's head as to why they wrote what they wrote. And sometimes, if you've ever tried to do that, it often ends up not sounding like me, or Reverend Nancy does the same thing. We look them over, we take some ideas from them, and then we go. Well, the talk title intrigued me because it was Mission Possible. And I thought, we've all watched the Mission Impossible series, with Tom Cruise. And what seemed as a mission impossible always turned out to a mission possible, right? Right? Yeah. Some of you may have noticed, or maybe you didn't notice, that through June and July, I was strangely absent from the center. Now, it's funny, like somebody said, well, where have you been? Did you go away? Yeah, I did go away. In my head and in my heart, I went away for 8 weeks. And I went into the hospital for a simple stent surgery. However, when I awakened from the anesthesia, I felt like I was choking to death because I'd been intubated. And all I could see was these two beautiful faces looking down on me saying, I'm going like that. And these two beautiful faces said, oh, you would really like to have that tube out, wouldn't you? And all I could do was go like this. Well, they took it out, fortunately for me. And my son, with his dark sense of humor, when I started to talk after they found me in recovery, he said I sounded like a woman who had smoked 4 packs a day for 40 years. I didn't sound like myself. He said, you could call someone, and Frank called somebody. Dark sense of humor in our family. So, and yet I'm not here today to relay all the gory details of what happened, but the femoral artery in my right groin ruptured as they were going in to put the stent in. And it was the doctor's intention to use this avenue to get the stent, which was the one in the artery closest to the heart. I bled out. 90 minutes of pressure later, thank goodness for Denise, the surgical nurse, they bandaged that side and went in on the other side. Now, I share this with you because it was a mission possible event that I went into the hospital for. I've had 3 other stents put in, and only once was I ever kept overnight. I was an outpatient, so I assumed that my experience this time would be the same thing. Well, I would love to have some air, if you wouldn't mind. It's very warm up here. Maybe it's because I'm talking about myself. But I stand before you as an almost fully recovered person. And I say almost because there's an interesting residual PTSD that comes from an event like that. And it's not that it's gone away completely, because it filters up into my monkey mind every once in a while a little bit, and I think about it. Did I think in the first 3 weeks after the surgery that I'd ever have my life back? Were there moments of fear, uncertainty, and doubt? You bet there were. My son kept saying to me, remember, Mom, one day at a time, one day at a time. Yes, and I wanted to slap him. That was because I wasn't up to my usual self. But the first time I drove my car on my own and went to Trader Joe's the last week in July, it felt like a miracle. It was totally, I can't find the slide thing. Can you move the slide up? Oh, there we go. As religious scientists, we learn how to cultivate resilience, unleash creativity, and manifest our dreams through the power of hope. Now, Hope is a transformative force in our lives because sometimes it's all we have when nothing seems to be working the way it's supposed to. Now, by whose standard is life working, right? The way it's supposed to? How can we determine how life is really supposed to work? Now, Ernest Holmes says, next slide, hope is the subtle illusion and the unconscious compromise, but hope is better than despair. He uses that as a way to teach us that we don't use hope in our spiritual mind treatment. We know the truth, right? We don't hope it's the truth. We know it's the truth, right? So if we think life is over as we knew it, and we keep reiterating the woe is me mantra, it outpictures as, guess what? Life is over. Now, the quote actually, as I said, refers to effective affirmative prayer. Effective affirmative prayer is the one in which we know. Now, when we're in the throes of something going on in our lives, can we actually know that for ourselves? I bet you there are a few really spiritually evolved people in this room who do that on a regular basis. But I did not do that on my own behalf. And what I did was the best thing I knew how to do was to talk to somebody else, a practitioner, about what was going on in my life. Hope has no place in our treatment work. So I got it from the practitioner that I worked with, that we have to know unequivocally that our treatment works no matter what the appearance to the contrary. You know, five sensory appearance would say, this will never end. But the multisensory experience of this thing, I can see that it's going to have an ending at some point. I can't hope it will. I must know it does, even if the thought about treating for myself in the early days of my recovery was just totally not there. I wasn't meditating, I wasn't treating, I played free cell and watched mindless movies on television. Therapeutic. Now, I'm going to tell you, after the third week, I thought, I used to think, wow, what would it be like if I could have a whole day just playing free cell and watching mindless movies? After 3 weeks of doing it, I thought, this is ridiculous. I have to find some other way to entertain myself. So I let everyone else pray for me and know the truth. When in crisis or despair or struggling with insurmountable problems or even the daunting task of navigating or creating change in ourselves or a life situation, a little help from a practitioner goes a long way. And like Reverend Kathy said this morning, it's not because you don't consult a practitioner when you're so into the problem you're up to your neck in alligators. Do not wait that long. If you have something that's going passably well in your life and you want it to go extremely well or excellent, consult a practitioner and see what changes can be affected by technically borrowing someone else's consciousness until you can believe it for yourself. That's what practitioners are for. We don't really do anything. We allow the person we're working with to affect the change in their lives according to what we've been praying for. So, at one point, my son admonished me to call Reverend Nancy so she could set me straight. Those are his exact words. He said, you need some of Nancy's mojo. He said, this is not who you are. And he was right about that. Now, that is not to say that my children are not compassionate, but my children are not compassionate sometimes. Just to know that someone is praying on my behalf changed the molecular structure of my monkey mind. Seriously. You know, that stupid na 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 that goes on, and sometimes it was going on just before I went to sleep. I covet my sleep. I don't want to take monkey mind into my subconscious in the middle of the night. I slept the sleep of angels after I had my first treatment from somebody else. It was almost like, here, take it. Here, take my problem, run with it. And that's what a practitioner does. I felt hopeful for the first time in 3 weeks. You know, it is because of the power and science of hope. It's the voice of hope in an otherwise hopeless situation that either whispers or shouts. Anything and everything is possible through the power of prayer. That's the next slide. Anything and everything is possible through the power of prayer. Now, you're all very quiet here. I want you to breathe into this one. So technically, researchers in the field of positive psychology have posited that hope is the single most important feeling state. You know, they see it so much, you know, in people who come for psychological help after a traumatic surgery or near-death experience or a surgery that goes awry. Individuals who have significant levels of hope are more physically healthy and less susceptible to disease. They perform better academically and athletically. Research also indicates hope is positively correlated with self-esteem and healthier relationships. You know, Kathy's, in order to have a friend, you must be a friend. So hope increases the sense of meaning in life and identification and realization of goals and dreams. Do we have, you know, do we share with other people our goals and dreams? And what's back of those goals and dreams? Well, we hope that we see them realized at some point in our lives. Individuals with a high hope gene set loftier goals and are more likely to realize them. Next slide, Margaret Naguib, I guess that's how you, Najib maybe. That's because hope is a better predictor of success than intelligence or innate ability alone. How many people have incredible ability, high education, and seem to be successful in almost every area of their lives except for the one thing that they really want to do? There's something that gets in the way of that, and it's very often the intellect, because monkey mind says, well, you haven't done it yet, you can't do it in the future, kind of thing. Anything is possible with the right attitude, and in fact, attitude is everything. It changes the whole molecular structure of a person's thinking. From the science of mind perspective, hope is more than just optimism. It's a core principle that empowers and cements our spiritual journey. Rooted in our connection to the divine, hope becomes a dynamic force, aligning our thoughts with universal abundance and possibility. See, and it's not only possibility, it's probability. If I can see the possibility, there's a great probability that idea is going to come to fruition in our lives. Through practices like spiritual mind treatment, we affirm the innate ability to co-create our reality. I mean, that's a basic tenet of the science of mind. We co-create our reality, our healing possibilities, and it fosters a deep trust in the supportive nature of the universe. You know, the universe is just waiting for us to come to an awareness of what it is that we really want to experience in life. You know, there's that old saying, the closer I get to my dream, the closer the universe gets to seeing that dream come to fruition. Next slide, please. The science of mind teaches us how to emphasize the flexibility and creativity needed to navigate challenges and discover new solutions along our journey. That's one of the things that attracted me most to this teaching. I had challenges when I came to the science of mind in the beginning. I blamed my mom for everything. There's a diagram in one of Maria Nemeth's books that has like an open spit over a open flame, and you're turning it, and the spit has the word mother on it, has the word sister on it, has the word boss on it, has the word husband on it. We go to such extremes to find ways not to take responsibility for our own lives. And one of the toughest things was finding out I'm cause to my own effect. Moving out of the victim consciousness, which is the first kingdom, and moving into realizing I am cause to my own effect, changed my life completely. I didn't like it at first. I'm not going to lie about that. But now I go to the second kingdom right away when something shows up and see where I have been avoiding responsibility for whatever is going on in my own life. Self-mastery starts tomorrow with Reverend Nancy and Andrea. And by integrating these elements, you too can cultivate resilience and adaptability, crucial for maintaining hope amidst life's ups and downs. It's not like everything's going hunky-dory right now in our world. There are so many things to give pause to. And ultimately, aligning our thoughts with spiritual principles and engaging in intentional practices enhances not only our well-being, but also contributes positively to a collective consciousness. Edgar Cayce used to say, the consciousness of one person can change the consciousness of a whole room. Good or bad. Now, what do you want to be? I want to be the person who walks in and uplifts the entire congregation, right? So, I have trouble with the word manifestation. There is no agency to it. Manifesting something is like snapping your fingers out of thin air and it comes. There's no agency to it. I prefer the word demonstration. Next slide, please. Agency is a deep-seated belief in our ability to create and shape our reality through the combined power of thought and intention. That's what agency is. So it's not about just sitting home on the couch and waiting for the knight on the white charger to come by and knock on your door, or someone to call you on the phone and tell you they have the right and perfect job for you. It takes effort. It takes a conscious awareness of what it is that we want in that relationship. As Kathy said this morning, it's what we want in the perfect job. And we have to be able to see, visualize and see ourselves in that. Through the power of thought and intention, I knew in my heart of hearts about the 4th week after my surgery that I was going to be all right. I knew that unequivocally. That's not to say that I didn't engage in a little acting as if along the way, because I did. I tried to do a few things that were not physically possible for me to do at that point in time. But hope is the understanding and knowing that we are co-creators with the divine, possessing an inherent ability to manifest, and there's that word again, to demonstrate our desires by aligning our thoughts with universal principles. If I don't know what those universal principles are, I might just go off, as Ernest Holmes would say, willy-nilly. But now that we do know what those universal principles are, they're right there to help us through any circumstance or any situation that we can encounter. This belief extends to every aspect of life, nurturing the ability to initiate and sustain actions toward achieving our goals. It's the motivational drive that empowers us to take charge of our lives and persist in the face of challenges. Now, you can be motivated all you want, but if the willingness doesn't come from within, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. We have to first be willing to make the change or to be the change. Cultivating agency involves building self-confidence and reinforcing the mindset that one has the power to influence their outcomes. We have the power to influence our outcomes. My dad always used to say to us when we were growing up, and I'd say, "Oh, Dad, I can't do this, I can't do this." And he would look at me and goes, "It's the thinking that makes it so. Stop saying can't." Now, I thought my dad was brilliant until I started reading Shakespeare at age 17. And most of his quotes were from Shakespeare. And it's right in there. It's the thinking that makes it so. Next slide. When we believe in our capacity to affect change, we are more likely to stay motivated and resilient, thereby enhancing our overall sense of hope. It encompasses every area of our lives, not just health, but relationships, careers, and money. Someone lamented to me a few days ago about how much groceries cost these days. I went grocery shopping at Trader Joe's, and what I usually paid about $80 for all the same things, because I shop for the same thing every 2 weeks, maybe every week and a half. And this week it was $117 instead of $80. When she said this to me, I said, "But we still have grocery stores from which to buy whatever foods we want." And as soon as the words were out of my mouth, I knew it must have felt dismissive to her. It didn't seek to understand her personal dilemma first, nor did I feel compassion for her. Now I'll have to call her and make amends for being a smart aleck. But I believe that, I believe that when we complain about things, they just multiply in our lives. When we see somebody else is to blame for something that we think is happening in our lives because somebody is doing something, then there's no opportunity for me to grow in truth. Look, developing and cultivating a hope mindset begins with the recognition that we are irrevocably connected to a limitless source of good. G-O-O-D. I mean, if we look at what's good in our lives instead of what's wrong in our lives or what's bad in our lives, nobody or nothing can take this away from us except through our own errant thinking. And yes, I'm going to tell you, the first 3 weeks there was a lot of errant thinking on my part. I felt sorry for myself. I spent a few days in tears, but I also know that when we cry sometimes, it washes the windows of our souls to let our light shine through. Now, I tell you that because Martin Sheen said it to Johnny Carson one day. How many years ago Johnny Carson was on? And I wrote it down. Crying washes the windows of our souls to let our light shine through. No one or nothing can take this away from us except through our own errant thinking. And we have to take responsibility for that. I did. Engage in daily spiritual mind treatment and do it out loud because the words have power. They go out into the ethers. How many prayers have been spoken here in this sanctuary that are still here? There's an energy here. When new people walk in, they can feel the energy of this room. Get connected in depth with the realization or affirmation step of treatment, because that's where the action is. Affirmation or realization is that third step of treatment that says, this is what I'm knowing I have or do or be. Visualize our dreams as already realized by being connected with the feelings that we might experience when demonstrating our fondest desires. That's an important aspect of having a friend. Who am I in this friendship? How do I relate to the people in my life? Someone said yesterday that I'm a proclaimed introvert. And I thought, well, okay, that keeps people at bay, talk to the hand kind of thing. But then I realized that's just a condition that shows up in our lives until we find out the right and perfect people to be with. Because at this center, nobody gets to really be an introvert or sit as a wallflower around here. There are too many people wondering who you are and why you're here. So practicing mindfulness keeps us in the present moment when we pay attention to what we are thinking. Practice keeping the mind quiet and calm. We cannot do anything about other people. We can only change what we believe about those people. One of the most famous talks that Raymond Charles Barker ever gave at Ellis Tully Hall in New York City was the placard out front said, "How to Change Other People." They had 2,000 people in residence. It's a huge concert hall. And they were so disappointed to find out at the very end, you can't change other people. You can only change what you think about those other people. And lastly, treat yourself with compassion and tenderness when you occasionally fall into judgment. Together, as a community dedicated to spiritual growth and collective well-being, we can embody hope as a transformative force. Next slide, please. By embracing hope with our thoughts, words, and actions, we inspire others and create a ripple effect of positivity and resilience in our community. So we're here to support one another. That's what we're here to do. We're here to show compassion and understanding. We're here to embrace the idea of hope. We're here to provide the tools. There's a wonderful toolbox in the self-mastery class. I know I'm going over this, but it's an accredited class, and it's quite wonderful. You won't leave the class saying, well, I didn't get anything out of that, because you got Reverend Nancy and Andrea to feed information to you as you feed it to yourself through the student guide. So we strengthen the bonds of compassion and unity. We uplift one another in times of triumph and adversity alike. We hold the vision of a world where hope is not just a concept, but it's a lived experience, where each individual's potential is realized and collective aspirations are fulfilled. It sounds like a tall order, but we can do it. Last slide, please. Knowing with God. It's a daily mission possible, and all things are possible. Will you join me in consciousness, please? And go within for a minute and just think about the possibilities of a life well lived. When we come to the end of the winter of our years, we sometimes look back and have regrets about what we did or what we didn't do. But none of that really matters, because the only legacy that we leave our world is our happiness. The only way in which people remember us is not by what we said, but how they felt when they were around us. So today it really is about moving through whatever might be going on in our lives, because we are not there to stay. We move through the problems. We come from the problem to the solution. And what happens in between is awareness. What happens in between is pure spirit identifying itself by means of each one of us. And so today I know for those of us here that the element of hope is high in our order of things to remember that we can align with. Align with hope, align with resilience, align with having done or said the right thing, align with the idea of compassion and understanding, align with the idea that God is truly all there is. And in knowing this unequivocally, we come to a resolution, we come to a solution, and we live a better life for it. Knowing that, as always, God is in the mix, all is well, as we say together, and so it is.
Just around every corner, down every road you take, I know you've been waiting so long for your big break. Just about any day now, when your ship comes in, you can't believe you're starting over again and again. It's hard to keep hope alive. Hope alive when you feel you can't go on, like everything you do is wrong. Keep hope alive. You gotta keep hope alive. Remember, someone out there loves you. Let love's spirit show you the way. And look through any window. Anyone can feel the pain. Oh, and every one of us has the power to get back up again. Just about every corner, you can take a chance. Oh, the sweet taste of tomorrow. And surely hold out till then. You gotta keep hope alive. Hope alive, and when you feel you can't go on, like everything you do is wrong, you gotta keep hope alive. Hope alive. You know that love is out there somewhere, and let it show. Yeah, you gotta keep hope alive, hope alive. When you feel like you can't go on, know that nothing you do is wrong. You got to keep hope alive, hope alive. Just remember, someone out there that loves you. Let love's spirit show you the way. You got to keep hope alive.
Isn't she amazing? So, it's now, I'm going to do the blessing. Chloe, could you bring the basket? Thank you, baby.
Y'all sing with me now.
Yeah.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us. Our Spirit lives and breathes through us.
So this is a divine opportunity. Any chance that I get to say thank you is a divine opportunity. So join me in knowing that as we participate in this process of giving, and this is as the center receiving, we know that we are being given the opportunity to be in the divine flow of being. And we are so grateful, for this is another way in which we can step into our own greatness, our own opportunity to lift up and to bless, our own opportunity to receive and accept the divine good of the universe. So with this moment of just opening our hearts and receiving, as we open our hearts to give, it is with a true felt appreciation for being who and what we are that we engage each other in this way. And know that it radiates not only for us in the center, but it radiates out to our community, our city, our country, to all humankind. And it's with love and divine acceptance we say thank you, thank you. And together we can acknowledge it as we say together. And so it is. So thank you. Gather your prayers up.
Okay, so join me, please. Taking a breath, just breathing in all this wonderful energy. And right now, as I speak my word in the first person, as I recognize this presence of God, which is the presence of all possibilities, that is infinite and boundless and just unlimited. And I am one with this presence of God, so therefore I am an embodiment of limitless, boundless, infinite possibilities of life, and knowing right now that I choose to focus on things that are possible. I release any idea of limitations or that something's impossible or I can't. I just simply say, I choose. And whatever it is that I choose, I affirm that and have the confidence and inner trust that I am accomplishing it right now. And I feel so uplifted and energized right now, being at this center, right here, right now, as I give thanks for Reverend Dr. Maureen and everyone here for this beautiful celebration of Sunday and celebrating an upliftment of life. And so with grateful thanks, I release my word to the law of mind as I let it be so. And together we say, and so it is.
You guys would like to join in a circle? And sing with me on this song. Here we go. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side.